New at 4, we're getting our first look at a dog attack caught on video. It's forcing a local shelter to change its procedures. Also, a new threat, anger in Iran, and more U.S. troops on the move. We're tracking the very latest in President Trump's hottest international crisis. Ben?
Sandra, dry and mild weather getting replaced as we head into Saturday and Sunday. But how much snow are we expecting for the weekend? We'll answer that right now. First at 4.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sandra Ali in for Karen Drew. First at 4, the Trump administration raising the stakes in the Middle East during a tense confrontation with Iran. More troops are heading to the region. In Tehran, there are new protests today. Iranians taking to the streets over the U.S. airstrike that killed an Iranian general less than 24 hours ago. There have also been protests in Pakistan and India. In the past hour, President Trump spoke about the attack for the first time at his home in Florida.
We took action last night to stop a war. We did not take action to start a war. I have deep respect for the Iranian people. They are a
Right now, let's get to Devin Scillian. He's in the newsroom with the other new developments and reaction for us at this hour. Devin?
Well, Sandra, two big questions hanging over the killing of the Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani. First, what will Iran do now? Second, is the United States better off with the general dead or alive? Within hours of the drone attack at the Baghdad airport, Iran promised it will indeed retaliate. This afternoon, the Pentagon moved to send 3,500 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne to the Middle East. American officials believe Soleimani was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of American soldiers during the Iraq War, branding him a terrorist. Still, some world leaders are urging both the U.S. and Iran to de-escalate tensions. Many Democrats in Congress are questioning if killing the general will actually advance American interests.
My guess is that the assassination of Soleimani will lead to greater harm to U.S. personnel, U.S. citizens, and U.S. interests.
We watched the intelligence flow in that talked about Soleimani's travels in the region and the work that he was doing to put Americans further at risk, and it was the time to take this action so that we could disrupt this plot.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, meanwhile, says there will be a briefing later today for key Senate staffers. He's urging lawmakers to hear the facts before passing judgment on what's happened. We're gathering reaction from Michigan's congressional delegation, and we're asking questions about any security updates in Metro Detroit as well. So our coverage will continue here on Local 4 News at 5. Sandra, I'll see you then.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you so much, Devin. And the unrest in the Middle East having a big impact on the stock market today. The Dow Jones dropped about 200 points at the opening bell. And let's go ahead and take a look now. And you can see the latest numbers from Wall Street there on your screen. The Dow is down right now 235 points. Never really, in fact, recovering. Oil prices surged after the U.S. strike, and the market pulled back from record highs. Our partners at NBC will have team coverage for you tonight on the Middle East tensions. You can join Lester Holt at 6:30 right here on Local 4. The Oakland County Animal Shelter has released a video of a dog attack that prompted some changes in its department. The shelter says it took in the 4-year-old pit bull from a home in Troy because it bit a mother and her 2 children. Surveillance video from last month shows an inmate worker let the dog out of its cage. The dog refuses to get back inside and then runs throughout the room. A supervisor enters the room. The dog attacks her, grabbing onto her hip, her arm, and then eventually her shoulder. Another worker shoots the dog. Minutes later, the dog got back up and was shot again. The supervisor, a 25-year veteran of the shelter, was taken to the hospital and is now recovering.
Keeping in mind that we do deal with over 4,000 animals a year. People do get bit, people do get scratched, but not to this magnitude and not under these circumstances. And we'll never let this happen again.
The shelter says it's now making some changes in the wake of that attack. All the cages in the quarantine room now have double locks. Inmate workers won't be allowed to have any contact with dogs in those rooms, and staffers will all receive new training as well. We're expecting to see the driver accused of doing donuts on I-94 in Detroit in court this afternoon. Devin Kronk from Allen Park is now charged with reckless driving and disturbing the peace. Prosecutors say he turned himself in yesterday. This was after running from police on Christmas. Detroit Police Chief James Craig says it's unacceptable, especially after his warnings following other freeway stunts.
But he should know, keep it out of Detroit, period. Don't do it here.
Coming up new at 5, the chief is also talking about this viral video of people firing guns in the air to celebrate the new year. He's promising the people in that video won't get away with it. You'll want to hear the update on that investigation. Again, that's coming up for you tonight at 5 o'clock. The 40s are feeling great on this first week of January, but we're going to get a little colder this weekend. Let's get our first look. First at 4 with Ben. Ben, where do things stand right now?
Well, I'm afraid today's temperatures, Sandra, are probably the warmest that we're going to see going forward. And we've got some snow to discuss for the weekend. But first things first, and that's going to be the rain. You can see some of that starting to make its way into northern parts of Ohio. But we probably won't see that beginning here until we get closer to midnight. So just a lot of cloudy skies. In the meantime, current temperatures are in the 40s, but you can already see those numbers cooling down in the west and north zone, upper 30s there in Howell, all the way up to Sandusky. And we will be seeing chillier numbers than that for high temperatures tomorrow. Here's how the rest of tonight looks. We will stay dry until we get closer to midnight. That's when the rain starts falling. It will transition to snow overnight, and we will see some on the ground. We'll tell you how much to expect for accumulation this weekend coming up. Sandra?
Thank you, Ben. You know, normally this time of year, we're all talking about the North American International Auto Show. And as you know, that show has now been moved to the summer. But if you're going through withdrawal, there's a new option for you in the suburbs. Kim DiGiulio takes us there and shows us what this new show is all about.
The North American International Auto Show isn't until this summer, but car lovers, no worries. You can still get your auto show fix this time of the year by visiting Novi for the first ever Southeast Michigan Auto Show. What's better than one auto show? How about 2? Now Metro Detroiters can grab a sneak peek of new models at the Southeast Michigan Auto Show held at the Suburban Collection Showplace.
It's good to come down with your dad and your son and have fun and just see all the cars.
If you do plan on checking out this show, keep in mind that it's much different than the show that we're used to.
The auto show, of course, primarily is new cars and launches of new cars. This show is pretty diverse because you have a little bit of both.
For example, at this show, you'll get a chance to look at some luxury used vehicles that are for sale. And unlike the NAIAS, you're able to get in every single car.
You're able to sit in the cars, and it's good.
It's a little more open. It gives the consumer an opportunity to touch the cars and interact with the car.
It's cool that we can sit in them and stuff.
Now, don't expect to see the fancy reveals and the concept vehicles here. You'll see that this summer. But this show is great for people like Catherine.
I'm actually looking for a car right now.
She lives in Brighton and wants to see a few options before she buys a new car.
Yeah, so I'm excited to be closer, and it's not as big, which is nice, so that I don't get overwhelmed.
But make no mistake, this show showcases hundreds of models spanning from the exotic luxury brands to your basic economy vehicles. A little something for everyone. The auto show runs through the weekend. For ticket prices and times, visit our website, clickondetroit.com. In Novi, I'm Kim DiGiulio, Local 4.
And the official kickoff for the show is tonight at the Suburban Collection Showplace. Ticket sales, by the way, will benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Still ahead, hundreds of airline employees claim their uniforms are making them sick. We're going to talk about new legal action. But first, Dr. McGeorge is here. Hey, Doc.
Hey, Sandra. In good health, how much exercise does it take to give your brain a boost? And the one thing to bring to your office that might bring some stress relief. We'll talk about some new research. That's next.
Thank you, Doc. But up first, why you may need to change the way you sign your documents in 2020. It's a small tweak that could protect you from big problems. We'll explain.